Hey everyone, Dave Gasper here for Brewer Fanatic, and I want to get to one of the big topics here of the Brewers offseason. Freddy Peralta, the trade rumors are circling. Should the Brewers trade Freddy Peralta or should they keep him? That's what Matt Arnold has been grappling with. That's what they've been looking at this entire offseason. So I want to kind of dive into it a little bit here because it's not a cut and dry situation. It's not quite like Devin Williams was the offseason before, not quite like Corbin Burns necessarily a couple years prior, where it kind of seemed like a foregone conclusion that he was going to get traded. With Freddy Peralta, it seems a little different. The way the Brewers have been talking about him, how important he is to the club, where the team is at right now. So there's a lot of things working here that Matt Arnold has to deal with. We saw the reports from John Heyman over the weekend. Heyman talking about how the market is, continuing to be very strong for Peralta. Lots of teams are interested: Yankees, Mets, Braves, Giants, and of course the Los Angeles Dodgers, because they just have to be in on absolutely everybody. But those teams are interested. Plus, he also brought up the fact that Peralta has been open to an extension, for trying to talk an extension with the Brewers for the past 2 years, and nothing has happened. There's action. The Brewers don't really seem particularly interested in extending Freddy Peralta. So that means that he's going to be gone after this next season, no matter what. 2026, no matter what, this is going to be his last time in a Brewers uniform. So, that becomes a question now. Do you trade him or do you simply hold on to him through that last year like you did with Willy Adames? Because Adames, they're the same kind of conversations. Are they going to trade him? And they decided he was too important to their club in order for them to do that. They wanted to have one last ride with him and just took the compensatory draft pick when he left. So many have been wondering because, Adames was a big piece of that clubhouse. Freddy Peralta is a big piece of that clubhouse for the Brewers. Would they do the same? Would they take the same route with Willy Adames as they did? Or are they going to go the route of Corbin Burns and Josh Hader and Devin Williams, where they trade him a year before free agency, or a year and a half in the case of Josh Hader? So I want to look at some of the pros here. The pros of trading Freddy Peralta: you are going to get some long-term assets that can help you out either right now or very soon. Because if the Brewers are going to be moving Peralta, they are going to be getting some guys that are going to help out in 2026. They're going to want some rotation help. They're going to want some guys with full seasons of team control. Ken Rosenthal has talked about, hey, they're going to look to get more than they got for Corbin Burns. Corbin Burns brought back DL Hall, Joey Ortiz, and a compensatory draft pick. So if you're getting more than that, either in quality or quantity, I think that'd be pretty solid there in terms of helping out right away. Because Joey Ortiz helped out right away. DL Hall, had he remained healthy, would have helped out more right away. But still, he's been a big league arm for the Brewers the last couple of seasons. So I think that's certainly something that the Brewers are going to be looking at. And for the long-term health of the organization, that may end up being the best move. How it helps the team in 2028, 2029, things like that. That's where a trade of Peralta would be helpful and would make a ton of sense. However, as one of the cons here of trading Freddy Peralta is that you're losing your best arm. You just won the division 3 years in a row. You made it to the NLCS, and you're going to trade away your best starting pitcher. It's really going to hinder the rotation depth. I know they've got a really deep crop right now, but in terms of proven arms, what do they really have? Because right now they've got Peralta and Brandon Woodruff as the 1-2 atop the rotation. Peralta has been healthy, making every single start for the past, however many years. Brandon Woodruff has missed a lot of time due to injury. He just made it back from shoulder surgery last year. Can you rely on him for 30 starts? Can you rely on Brandon Woodruff for 160 innings? I'm not entirely sure that you can. So who can you really rely on in that rotation for 30 starts, for 160 innings? I think it's Freddy Peralta, and I think the list ends there. As much as I really like Quinn Priester and Jacob Mizorowski and the rest of those guys that they got, they haven't fully proven it. Mizorowski and Priester just essentially finished their rookie seasons. So you've got Priester had a little bit more experience, but still, you got two very young arms after that. So if you're relying on Woodruff to be the ace, there are the health concerns with Woodruff. It would open up spot for some of that younger depth, and you're going to get some rotation help back. But it just leaves so many question marks in that rotation. It goes from being a strength to something that could be a potential weakness if you move Peralta out of there, because your best guy is gone. Your proven depth takes a massive hit. So, frankly, when it comes to trading Peralta, it's not going to help out as much this year. No matter who you get back, no matter what kind of starting pitching prospect with 6 years of control that you're going to get back, they're not going to be as good as Freddy Peralta would be. So, for 2026, I would lean toward the Brewers should not trade Freddy Peralta. However, Matt Arnold has to take that kind of agnostic look at the organization in order to make a great baseball trade that's going to help out the team, not only for this year, but in the years ahead. So if you can get some assets that help out right now, that can also help you out for the next 6 years going forward, rather than just 1 year, then I think that's a realistic thing that they've got to take a look at. I mean, in short here, I'm torn, and I think the fan base is torn as well, just because of what Peralta means to this club and what he's proven, what he's done, but also recognizing this is simply a part of business. This is how the Brewers operate. This is how they've maintained success over the years. The Josh Hader trade, they've turned that into Robert Gasser, who's projected to be a big part of this rotation this next year. And another trade later, it became William Contreras. Corbin Burns, I mean, that turned into your starting shortstop. Now, I know Joey Ortiz has his flaws there, but it got you a starting shortstop, and it got you another potential starting pitcher. DL Hall, again, hasn't been healthy, but he's been a reliable. I say reliable, but that's not necessarily the case. But still, you get yourself a solid big league arm when he is healthy. When you can rely on him to be out there to be healthy, he can be solid for you. So you get some players there. You traded Devin Williams, and you ended up with a guy who finished pretty high in Rookie of the Year voting in Caleb Durbin. So you've been able to get some help on these trades to help your roster. So if Matt Arnold does it, if he pulls the trigger, I understand. I think it would make sense. I think I would get it, just as long as it's not to the Dodgers. We're seeing the Dodgers now pop up as one of these teams making a strong push for Peralta. Please, just anywhere but there. I mean, in a vacuum, you can say they can present the best offer. They got a pretty good farm system, some young pitchers that the Brewers could give a good chance to. But to lose to the Dodgers in 4 in the NLCS because their pitching just absolutely blew you away because they had 4 aces lined up, and then you throw them a 5th ace, the optics there are just not great. So it's a realistic possibility. For the long-term health of the organization, I'd say you do trade them. But when it comes to what's going to be best for 2026, I think perhaps the Brewers should not trade them. Just for this year to run it back out there, because again, you've got such an unproven rotation behind him. It makes it real tough if you don't have Peralta and you're relying on Woodruff to be the guy with his injury history, and then a bunch of guys in their first or second year behind him. It makes it very tough to really rely on that rotation for Pat Murphy. So I could see it going either way. But if the Brewers are going to trade him, they're going to have to get some big league help immediately in order for them to make it worthwhile. This is not going to be a trade where they're getting prospects in A ball or rookie ball. That's not going to be what the Brewers are looking for. They're going to be trying to repeat again as NL Central champions and make the World Series. But I think you're also going to be making it harder to make the World Series if you don't have Freddy Peralta in that rotation. So, I mean, I'm truly torn. I think Brewers fans are torn. I think Matt Arnold is torn too, which is why we haven't seen a deal come together yet. But offers are still coming in, so we'll see how it ends up going. And of course, check out Brewer Fanatic. We'll have analysis, of course, of all of that as well. Whatever happens or does not happen in the Peralta trade front. And appreciate you watching. Appreciate you enjoying. This has been Dave Gasper here for Brewer Fanatic.